Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Black on Black Cinema. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my co-host, Micah.
Hey.
All right, guys, we are back. This is episode 272, Love Jones. This is the 1997 film. Let me read the log line here. Darius Lovehall is a young black poet in Chicago who starts dating Nina Mosley, a beautiful and talented photographer. While trying to figure out if they got a love thing or just kicking it, they hang out with their friend and talk about love and sex. Then Nina tests the strength of Darius's feelings and sets a chain of romantic complications into motion. Stop playing games. Okay, I cannot stress that enough. Look, the other two are out this week. Family stuff and illness. So folks will be back next week. So wish them well. All right, so look, I thought I had seen Love Jones, but I was mixing it up with the multitude of other 90s black romance films that I love, and I had actually never seen this movie. Had you seen this before?
I had seen this before because my wife has been telling me that we need to review this movie for 10 years.
Yeah. Long overdue.
She's been this is one of her favorite movies, and she was like, we're gonna sit down and we're gonna watch this, right? And I'm like, all right. And this was years ago, right? So yeah, I had seen this movie to the point where I thought we did it. Right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like things just all mixed together. Because there are so many movies, so many black movies in the 90s that are incredibly similar. Brown Sugar, fucking Love and Basketball. There's a million of them, right? That being said, I love all of those movies. They're all great. And here's the thing. This is no exception. I really love this movie. I think it's really well done. I like the entire cast. I think it's one of those movies that is like a quintessential peak black 90s movie. And it also makes me sad. This is a very sad movie to me for the reason, not because of the subject matter, but the lack thereof in modern movies for black folks. And it's just nice seeing black people not be single-storied and black people being shown as human beings, right? This is not a movie that is showing black people. I feel like I had this conversation earlier today. But it's not a movie that is about black people living under oppression or in reference to white people's behaviors or anything like that. It is just a movie about black people living their lives, which gives them real humanity, which I miss because we do not, unfortunately, have a lot of movies like that for us anymore.
Well, the producers stated that they wanted to make a modern film about African-American life that didn't use violence or recreational drugs as elements in the story. This was 100% a conscious decision. Yeah. Lo and behold, black people can be as loving, as stupid, as caring, as angry, as, we run the gamut of emotions just like every other fucking human being. So, and it's weird to say that, man, I wish we could see more movies like this where we're full-fledged human beings with pros and cons. Yeah, right. What a concept. But yeah, this time period, this entire time period, late 90s, early to mid 2000s. This is when we were doing well. This is when black people were doing well in the country. Yep. And as such, and as such, art is reflected in that. Mm-hmm. And, the old adage is art imitates life. And, there's a reason why movies like the original Joker, which came out in 2019, made $1 billion, right? And there's a reason why movies like this, movies like Boomerang, movies like Brown Sugar, Love and Basketball, movies like this that feature us in prominent roles, living life, being successful, and not even being successful, being so successful, it doesn't even matter, right? it doesn't matter what kind of job we had. Right. We were just, it was an afterthought.
I mean,
right?
Like the big difference between this movie and, because I've been thinking about this a lot actually, the big difference between this movie and like Boomerang, like in Boomerang, it was like black executives, right? Like they were just like all doing financially extremely well and all that, which I love, right? But this movie, like, he's just a poet. Like, it's not like poets make shit ton of money. And she's a photographer. Like, they don't have these big money jobs, but they are just middle class living, right? Like, it's just good old solid middle class living. They got nice apartments, nothing extravagant. They're just living their lives. And it's nice to see that, right? Like, it doesn't have to be in extreme wealth or extreme poverty sort of situation.
It feels real. It feels real. It feels attainable. It feels like you know these people. And look, everybody is just attractive enough to not be like, to not have some weird aura around them. You know what I mean? Like, they look like real people. They all look good. They all look like real people. They look like us. And
I look just like Larenz Tate. Many people have said that.
And yeah, man, it's a really good movie. It's a solid movie. It's, you know, it has the same beats and trappings as other romantic comedies, for good and bad. And, you know, if you watch a lot of movies, you see stuff like this coming a mile away, and, you know, that's fine. It is what it is. That's the style of movie that they're doing. But so I can't get too mad at the incredibly frustrating parts.
Yeah.
Right. Because like,
talk to each other.
You know, right. Like, that's kind of the point, right? It's right. Literally the point of these story beats. So yeah, man. I enjoyed myself. I had a good time rewatching this movie. Look, Nia Long is one of those people, man. Nia Long, Gabrielle Union. Those are the two, man. If I ever get a hall pass, yep.
It's
Nia
funny.
Long is just fucking gorgeous at every stage of her life.
Yeah, she really, like, she has never fallen off. She's never fallen off. Like, she just, and not that she needs to like stay hot through her entire life. It just so happens that she absolutely has.
You know, you got to appreciate it when it happens. You know what I mean?
Look, I'm not mad at. I've never seen a movie with Nia Long where I'm like, she could look better. That's never been a thought process I've ever had. It's always, get out of can somebody move that other dude who's standing in front of her? Like that, like, get out of the way. No, but you know, the thing about this movie that I think works so well, and it's going to be a lot of like old man nostalgia type of shit in this episode. So if you're young, get over it. This was just a better era. Okay. Like, it just was, in as far as like media, it just was. And it's because of the thing that you said, art imitates life. And look, I know this is subjective, but I don't think so. The movies were better. Our movies were better. Our music was better. Right. And I don't even mean just necessarily like the rap was better. It was, but it wasn't all the same. Right. It wasn't all the same. Yeah. Like, you're looking at black people in this movie doing something that in modern movies that I do not see. Right. Which is everything about what they do is black as fuck. And not in a like, is black to like push back on sort of, you know, what the man is doing type of shit. It's just black people being black people, blackity black as fuck, right? The only thing that's not black about this movie, and is somehow still kind of black, is that at one point they played Jamiroquai in the soundtrack, and I was like, yeah, but Jamiroquai, I'm allowing. You have to.
I'm allowed. Yeah, you have to. You have to. That's a Bobby Caldwell situation. You know,
right? Like some people are like, Jamiroquai's not black, right? Right. So you have to allow it, but like, even their dates that they go on in this movie, and we'll talk about it. Like, they go on two sort of major dates. One of them, they go to a reggae club. It's all black people. It's very specific black music. Even if it's not black American music, it is a very black thing. And then the other club that they go to is like an old head, like hand dancing, like old school club. Everybody's black. It is a very uniquely black perspective, right? Like they not only are black people living in America, but everything they do is encapsulated by this pride in blackness, which is just so fucking nice to see. They got friends who are, got like sort of a Pan-Africanism, right? Like they got the kente cloth, like head wraps and shit like that. And it's not like, I'm the blackity black friend. Like it's not that. They're just, everybody is just interwoven into these groups. Like it's just really, really nice. Like you got people, kind of, like regular people philosophizing about love and shit like that. Like kind of barbershop talking to each other. Like that is who we are. And it's just so fucking nice to see this not placed against something else or anything like that. Black men and black women are getting along, which is nice. They're not ripping each other down, which, by the way, art imitates life. The reason you see that shit in movies is because you motherfuckers are doing it in real life all the time now. And it's really fucked up. But you got black couples together, right? Like, it's just nice to see. And that's what I love about this movie. It's just black people being black and not having to apologize for it. Like it's just refreshing. And I wish that more black movies like this existed now. Not to say there aren't any, but it's sadly few and far between. So,
at least it feels that way. So let's kind of get started. The movie opens up with a lot of black and white shots. Mm-hmm. I didn't know if this was meant to be like kind of alluding to Nina's like photography.
Possibly, yeah.
But they move. It's in motion, so it's kind of weird. And we open up on Nina and it kind of packing her stuff up with her friend. What is her friend's name? Josie, played by Lisa Nicole Carson.
Oh, another one.
Yeah.
She was a fucking vibe in the 90s, yo. Get out of here. Look, I don't know a lot of things about what's happening in this scene except for Nina's character clearly, like, the air conditioning in this apartment is fully functional.
Yeah. Look,
I was like, look, okay, like your headlights are on. Like it's the very first scene. Jesus Christ.
Listen. I try my best not to be too crass when it comes to lusting after women.
Right.
Like when we do these movies, like I
want these actors to listen to these episodes. I'm sorry.
But I'm telling you, when it comes to Nia Long and Gabrielle Union, people like that, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm sorry. Okay.
You brought this on yourself.
So yeah, she's packing her stuff up. And because she just broke up with her boyfriend, Marvin. We can call him Ime Udoka because he's the dumbest nigga on earth, fucking up a relationship with Nia Long.
Yeah, cool.
Fucking idiot. The next scene is at this place called Sanctuary, and Sanctuary is like one of these like black owned like clubs that like. In the 90s, they had like poetry slams. Like I've been to a couple of these, right? And it's just like open mic, but like for poetry, like Def Poetry Jam, in real life, right? I remember going to a couple of these, and I am nothing if not self-aware. Okay, I don't like hippie shit. Right? I don't like I can appreciate the poetry, but like I can appreciate it from my house. Right? Like I feel out of place going to stuff like this, where people are not clapping but they snapping. You know what I mean? Like, I can appreciate it, but like, it's not my scene, man.
I don't want to be there. Like, I don't
want to be there. I really don't. If you're playing Arrested Development, I'm leaving. You know what I mean? Like,
by the way, he's referring to the musicians, not the television program.
Right. I'm leaving because they look like they walk around with bare feet on concrete. I don't.
You don't want to hear it, like if you're at a club and they start playing Mr. Wendell, you just like I don't want to hear that. Tennessee. I gotta get the fuck out.
That's just not my scene, man. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Look again. The music was diverse as fuck because like that shit was hitting on the radio. It was. Look, I'm not gonna lie. I like those songs, but at the same time, like they did do a couple songs. I was like, all right, we pushing a little too far. Like again, I don't want to be here. Like I just don't want to be here. Like it's not for me.
Right.
I love you, but it's not.
And my mother loved it, so she would play that stuff in the house all the time, man.
Yeah, it's like, super positive.
Yeah, and I am not.
Turn this shit off.
Got a big dark cloud hanging over my ass. So look, they all go to this place. It's called Sanctuary, and it's the friend group. And the friend group consists of Darius, played by Larenz Tate, Nina, who is, I guess, new to the group, played by Nia Long, Savion, played by Isaiah Washington, the evil version of Sterling K. Brown is what this nigga looks like in this movie.
Yo, he kind of does, dude. Like that is an excellent observation. Yeah, they could actually play like evil twins. That's one make you cry, the other one just makes you angry as fuck.
All right. Josie, played by Lisa Nicole Carson, Hollywood, played by Bill Bellamy, played by Bill Bellamy. Eddie, played by Leonard Roberts.
It's the dude from Drumline.
Sheila, played by Bernadette Speaks. And Marvin, Ime, played by Khalil Kane. And she's kind of new to the group, but they all go there, and we get a meet cute, right? Like a meet cute for the uninitiated, and in a love story, when the two main characters who are destined to fall in love meet each other, that's a meet cute. I forget why they call it that, but that's what it's called, right? And oh yeah, that's right. So she's not like a part of the friend group. He meets her at Sanctuary and he's chatting her up, right? And his friends are kind of laughing at him because like he's kind of striking out.
Yeah. And look, one thing that you see in this sort of the friend group that she's not a part of, like it's the Darius's friends, like they're doing this sort of like it's what, like three guys and one woman, right? And so they're kind of like talking about like, oh yeah, girl, you need romance, and I'm good at romance or whatever. And they're not like hitting on her, right? Like they're just all actually just friends, but they're all trying to like philosophize about like what love is and all this other shit, right? Meanwhile, there's a guy doing sort of slam poetry or whatever on the stage, and it's just you got Darius here, and he's like, oh, romance is about time and all this other stuff. So you're basically being introduced, like, yes, you get the meet cute in a scene after this, but you're also being introduced to just like what type of group of black people this is, right? These are not like hood folks. They're not, like high-end business people. They're just kind of like artists or like artist adjacent, and like kind of hippie adjacent black folks. But they're also still like very black, and their identities are sort of very obvious to me. Like which archetypes they kind of play.
This is what the gender wars were like in the 90s. We would talk about like we would talk to each other about like love and sex, right? Like it's and the correlation between the two, right? And it's usually like dudes just want to have sex and women want to fall in love. And, you know, eventually like the two meet in the middle. You know what I mean?
Right.
But these are slightly healthier conversations than the shit that we got going on now. Like what happened in 30 years when, you know, we're talking about like, hey, I want to be in love, or hey, I want to hit, to you need to fucking obey me. Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't need you. I'm not going to have sex with you. And I urge other women to not have sex with men ever. Like, what the fuck? Yo, like,
it's just
like, it's a weird time, man.
It's a very weird time. Thank God I'm out of the game. Best of luck, young people. Jesus Christ. But you know what I think it is? And look, it's not exclusive to black folks either, by the way. Like this shit is happening.
No, certainly not. This is a man-woman thing nowadays.
Right.
And
but we're just but just about us as a people. I mean, I think part of it is dudes are not doing as well as they used to, and women are doing better than they used to. And I think a lot of guys are having a hard time with that. Like I truly believe that. And by the way, again, that's everywhere. That's not just, I mean, women are just doing better and better. And that idea of like specific gender roles of like, you're going to be on the weaker side and I'm on the big money strength side. Those things they fall into the wayside. Right. And now I think men, I heard someone say this and I hadn't thought about it until they mentioned it, but it's absolutely true. This generation of men, and I would put us in that same group. We're just out of the game, thankfully. This is the first generation of men that actually have to have a personality that women like in order to get women. Before, it's always been this like financial, like you need a man to like survive type of shit, right? You know, like, and that's true. Like, I mean, it was, what is it? It was until like the 1977 or 74 or something shit like that women could get a credit card in their name, right? Like, so we are quite literally.
It was 1974. Yeah.
Yeah. So it, like this idea that this generation of men are the first ones that have to go out and impress women just solely on their own personality and all this other shit. And then they look back and they're like, this wasn't what it was like before. It's like, yeah. Because women had to be like, look, in order to survive, I got to deal with a bunch of your bullshit, so I got to hang on to you potentially, right? And there were, you know, a number of women who just were like, fuck that. But the vast majority of people had to be financially dependent. Not anymore. And so I think trying to figure out where you live in that world is difficult, right? Like, but being an asshole is not that's not going to work. You have to talk to people.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? Like all these dudes who are complaining about this, like they're, and I'm assuming these men are like between 10, between like 20 and like 35, right?
The men in
who are no. I'm talking about the men in this in this discussion that we're having.
Oh yeah,
right. Okay. That they are. We're going to go on a lot of tangents because like the movie's pretty straightforward and it's not very long. Yeah. So I just want to have interesting conversations about human dynamics. The problem with, I agree with you when you say that like men for the first time have to try to find a mate based on like something other than, you know, financial incentive. Right, like
blackmail,
like women, right.
Hey, like, you got all this money, girl. What's up?
Right, women make their own money, right? So they don't need you.
Yeah.
And when women say that, they don't mean that like they don't need. I don't need a man, so all men can fuck off and die. They mean I don't need a man. I would like one, maybe if I want, but I don't need one, right? And for some reason, people can't like understand that.
And by the way, I think a lot of men can understand that. I think the loudest voices you hear in society are the ones who just don't understand that, right? Like, to be fair to men, right? You know, but I think a lot of guys are just like, yeah, no, that seems obvious. But everybody on TikTok or Instagram is like, these bitches need to bow down. It's like, okay, well, you're an idiot. Like, I get it. And they're just, they're fucking loud.
Yeah, but the men who are in their 20s to like mid 30s, they didn't grow up. They didn't experience. Well, I guess maybe their dads were the ones who were like, I make all the money, so you have to do what I say. And then maybe they got that from their dads. I don't know. I feel like we are aging out of that pretty rapidly. Right?
Yeah,
like, I feel like our generation should be the very last. Like, we are at the end of the Gen X generation. Right. And I feel like we are the last ones whose fathers were, I make all the money, you do all the housework type people.
Yeah, I think that's true.
So I don't know. It's just interesting, man. Like, to see where we're going as a society. It's just interesting.
Right. Like, when this movie came out in 1997, you and I were in high school. And the idea that 30 years later, or almost 30 years later, these dynamics are so wildly different. Like, it's just the idea of this conversation that's happening in this club in the beginning, happening now. Like, when you see online when people are having these, like, I listen to, I'll watch those just to see how insane they are. I'll watch clips of that, like, balloon popping shit when it, like, pops up on social media, and it's ridiculous. Yeah. All of it's ridiculous. People's reasonings are ridiculous. Like, I popped the balloon because I didn't like his shirt. Like, nigga, you can get different pants. Like, have you guys not watched, like, HGTV? When people walk into my house, they're like, I hate this house. Like, why? I didn't like the color of the wall. Well, you can go to Home Depot and get a bucket of paint. Like, look at the structure, my nigga. Like, what are we talking about, right? It's the same sort of weird mentality. But I watch those, and I'm trying, like, some sort of alien to understand, like, what the gender dynamics are for younger people. And they're bizarre, right? They're very bizarre to me. And then they'll have, like, these after interviews where all of the men are talking to all of the women, or some of them, or whatever. And it's the most bizarro sort of, like, they take weird things out of context, or, like, there's a lot of jump to conclusions, which is, has happened between men and women since forever.
In this movie. And a lot of that is youth, I think. Youth and inexperience with, like, dealing with other humans.
Yeah. So it's just, I find it fascinating, but the dynamics from the 90s to now, it is just wildly different. And look, I don't expect people to be like, snap a finger, like, go back to this dynamic, because the world is very different, right? But I think there's a lot to be said about how they court women in this movie, like how he courts women in this movie. Though there's a bit of a vibe in the beginning. I'm like, nigga, none of this is acceptable. Like, by today's standards, like, now you going to jail, dog. Like, get out of here.
Yeah, it's not called persistence anymore. It's called stalking.
You're right. Like,
you better cut that shit out, bro.
Yeah, nah. This is the thing the 90s got wrong. Okay, this is not okay. But you watch some of the ways in which they talk to each other and stuff like that. Not in the, like, silliness of the, of the premise of the movie, but, like, just in the way that they talk to each other. Everything feels like it's just like sex is sprinkled over everything. Like, it just really is, like, this notion of it, but not in a, like, take your pants off type of shit. Like, it's not like that. It's just that everyone is trying to be cool as fuck. There's this unsaid thing. You know what it is? It's subtlety. It's nuance. And that is so lacking in the way people talk to each other now. Pop a balloon. Yeah, your ass ain't big enough. Like, God damn, that's your response? Like, that's crazy. Right? So there's a subtlety in the way that they speak to each other. Like, I know people long for this, like, old school, like, way that some people court people, but it's actually just subtlety. And there's a lack of that, I think, in how we talk to each other, not just romantically, but just in general. People don't use a lot of nuance. They just fucking steamroll into conversations in very weird ways. So, I don't know. Yeah. I'm being super old, I know. But deal with it, young people. Just deal with it. So you see Nina, she goes up to the bar, and Darius is just, like, he's just sitting there, and he's just, like, eyes forward. He's not paying attention to Nina at all. And then he kind of looks up and he's like, oh shit. Like, oh goddamn, it's Nia Long. And so he then, like, she clearly is looking at him, right? And, like, trying to be, like, she's trying to basically bored, holding to the side of his head, like, you better look at me, nigga. I know how good looking I am. And he's like, all right. Like, you're right. And so she talks to him first, and she's like, oh, deep in thought. And he's like, yeah, you know, she's like, oh, what are you thinking about? And then here it is. It's just like subtlety and sex sprinkled over everything, right? Because he's like, oh, I'm thinking about this woman that I saw once. And it's like, it's some very smooth shit, right? And I appreciate the level of subtlety and the smoothness of their conversation. It's nice. And of course, his friends are being assholes at the table, as you do. Okay, like, of course. And so they exchange names or whatever, and I think really she was kind of digging him, and then he pulled out a cigarette, and then he fumbled the wine glass, and he just kind of fucked that up, which, as a clumsy person, I'm like, get a man another chance for the love of God. Like, he's going to knock glasses over. That's just kind of what we do. Again, me and Larenz Tate, very similar in so many ways. It's hard to tell us apart. And so, yeah, they have that little meet cute. And then he walks away, or she walks away. And he gets up there and he does some poetry. And he names the poem after her. It says it's like Blues for Nina. And then he gets up there and he does this poem. And it's basically just big old sex sprinkled all over this thing.
Yeah, I want to sex you up. That should be the name of the poem.
Right. Like, this poem produced by Color Me Bad. And yeah, so it's like, it's funny. You can literally hear the noise of women's panties all over the club getting wet as he is doing this, because every time they pan to these random women, they're like, ooh, oh my God. Oh, he's only 5'6". Amazing. See, people didn't care about height back then. They didn't care. Ladies. See, other things were important, whether you had talent or not. Or maybe they couldn't tell because he's standing on the stage. They didn't know how tall he was. And so yeah, he does this poem, and it works out well for him. And Nina's like making this face like, whatever, nigga, even though that was kind of really good, and I'm trying to play it real fucking cool. And so then, like, he's outside later just hanging out with his friends. He doesn't approach her or whatever, plays it real cool. And then Nina and her buddy walk up to the whole crew, and they're like, oh, hey, how's it going? And he's like, and they're all like, the dudes are like, oh shit, like, that shit worked. Like, okay. And they're talking about sex because, again, it's sprinkled over everything. And she's like, oh, but there are other things that are more important than sex. And of course, Bill Bellamy's crass ass, what's wrong with sex? Like, all right, yo. It's like,
like, all right. Like, I swear this nigga plays the same. He plays Bill Bellamy in literally everything.
Yeah. Nah, he is not new to this shit. He is true to this shit. Like, that is who he is. He's like, nah, fuck this character. I got it. And so he's like, oh, what's more important than sex? And she goes over like she's gonna write her phone number on his hand, and instead writes love, which, cool. I guess I'll just jerk off with this hand tonight alone. And then she just walks away. And
I mean, look. Nia Long touched my hand. That's what I'm doing.
Like, hey, guess what's happening today? And so all his friends are laughing at him, like, oh, you ain't get the number, nigga. What's up? Smash cut, but she clearly liked him, by the way. But again, she's sort of getting over her breakup with her ex. And so she was, in the beginning, she said she was not looking to fall in love or get with anybody. Then smash cut to Nina getting fired from her job, which is unfortunate, as a assistant photographer. And so she goes to a record store, and she's like, look, she goes in, and it so happens that the woman running the record store is Darius's friend who was at the club with him the other night. And so she's like, oh, I need a Isley Brothers album, like, to, get over my blues of losing my job. Again, these black people are like 25. Like, I just find that to be hilarious. Right? Like, I mean, I like the Osley Brothers too. It's just funny. Like, okay,
It's just I'm not 27 years old buying a Osley Brothers album. You know
right?
what I mean?
Like
vinyl.
Yeah, like I've needed this. Okay, are you 45 at the time?
Yeah.
And
also, I'd like to apologize to Terrence. So a while ago, there was a big like debate on like who is better, right? The Osley Brothers or Earth, Wind and Fire, right? Like who has the who?
All right, y'all got to relax. What kind of weird Sophie's Choice is this?
Right, and everybody that, and this was on some thread, and everyone was picking Earth, Wind, and Fire, and Terrence, the lone dissenter, was like, "Nah, yo, I think y'all need to go back and listen to the Osley Brothers catalog, right?" Because,
he put a lot of disrespect.
Got a lot of music, and when you think about it, right, like, yeah, Earth, Wind, and Fire, they have like barbecue jams, right? But like the Osley Brothers literally have everything.
But not just everything. A lot of you motherfuckers wouldn't be here if the Osley Brothers didn't exist. Let's knock it the fuck off. In between the sheets, got a lot of y'all conceived. Okay, like let's be honest.
So yeah, Terrence is 100% right about that. It's the answer is the Osley Brothers.
I agree. And I like her. I love Earth, Wind and Fire. But yeah, you're right. Yeah. There's a lot of like barbecue fucking hits. Like
it's cookout music, right? Like it's cookout music. Whereas like the Osley Brothers have cookout jams, and then they also got like, bedroom jams. You know what I mean?
100%. Like again, they made a lot of baby making music. Okay, they just did. And for that alone, like if you're trying to get not to be too crass about it, but if you're trying to get laid, you putting on Earth, Wind, and Fire, or you gonna put on the Osley Brothers?
I'm not setting the mood and shit, and then all of a sudden, do you remember?
right.
Like, no, I'm not playing that, yo.
That's a wild rhythm to keep up with. Okay, like it just really. Like, yo, slow down. Like, come on. Yeah, no, get out of here. Like, if you're, look, I'm almost 45 years old. I'm picking the Osley Brothers 1,000% of the time. Like, and again, that doesn't mean Earth, Wind, and Fire is not amazing. So, yeah. Now, if you said some shit like, if you said like Kool and the Gang and the Osley Brothers, that's a hard one for me. That's a hard one. That's a hard one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like again, Kool and the Gang had some they had music all over the place, and all of it was good. So
yeah.
But yeah.
Anyway, so Darius eventually runs into her at a record store, and getting that Osley Brothers album, and she has to write a check. You see, young people. Back in the day when we didn't have the cash on hand, we didn't have cards to just like have all our money on. We used to write basically IOUs to people, and with all our information on it, and we would sign that IOU to the person that we are giving the thing to, and then they would go to the bank and say, "Hey, this person gave me an IOU for $9.99 for at the local record and tape traders or whatever, and I would like to cash this IOU in," and the bank would say, "Here you go." I basically say all that to say that check has all your information on it, and when Nina leaves, Darius goes up to his friend who is the clerk at the store and says, "Hey, how about you give me her address so I can just kind of pop in?"
No.
And the clerk at the store is like,
unacceptable.
Right. The clerk at the store is like, his friend, she's like, no. And he's like, you're supposed to help me out. You're supposed to be looking out for me. We're supposed to be friends. Oh, and nigga. She's like, no, nigga. Like, this is why we chose the bear, nigga. Like,
what kind of response is this? Just give me her home address. No, you fucking creep.
But he did get it. He snuck a peek, and he used his photographic memory to get that address, and then he does the second thing you're not supposed to do. He just fucking shows up. He just he just shows up out of the blue. Don't do that, people. I remember me and my father was so mad at me once. He refused to talk to me for a couple months because he popped in on me. No. And on his way home from work, and he worked on night shift. So he popped in, early in the morning. I'm like, and I didn't let him in the house because, like, this is when I first moved out. I want to see your place, Mike. First of all, it's an efficiency, okay?
Nigga, look here. Let me crack the door. You see 97% of it.
The scene, right? You look left, look right, look left again, like just like crossing the street. You've seen everything. You've seen everything.
Yo, that apartment was mad small.
That apartment
you way
was
too
so
fucking tall.
Small.
Nah, you way too fucking tall to live in an efficiency for 9 seconds. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but yeah, don't pop in, man. Don't pop in on people. Don't pop in on people.
Yeah, but you had somebody there too, and you were like, nah.
And I had a girl there, yo. Like, I had a girl there, and she had spent the night, and she didn't have her clothes and all that because he came first thing in the morning. It was like, no, yo, I'm not gonna let you in.
Yeah, no,
like it's bad enough. I have a partition here to try as a bedroom. I have a partition in the middle of this efficiency as a bedroom. Like, I can't let you just come in and look at this half naked girl over there, man. Like, and then he got mad. Well,
yeah.
Would you say put on a cape and get super mad? Like, I don't know what to tell you,
yo. Like, I'm not gonna let you in here. Like, titties are swinging in the background. Like, we can't.
Right. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I was not in the wrong. Even my uncle was like, come on. What are you doing? What you doing? Leave nephew alone. Right. Like,
yeah. I mean, like, again, don't pop in. I am not a fan of that. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that, please. I barely like people in my house to begin with. Like, just don't call and say you're coming. How about that? Like, I'm good. Unless you are family. And even then, maybe.
So Darius's persistence / stalking pays off. And he's like, come on, let's just go out for drinks. And she's like, you know what? Because she does like him. She's like, all right, you know what?
She lets him into her apartment. Girl, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh, that's how you get stabbed. Like, no.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't have done it. I would advise against that, especially nowadays.
Fuck.
But, okay. So they go out for drinks then, and at the friend group's house, at one of the friend group's house, I think it was Savon's house. And, we used to do that before we had kids. We would go over to her friend's house and, play like Taboo and shit like that. And I remember once one of our friends bought Cards Against Humanity, god awful game, because and look,
oh man,
they're very nice people, but like, they're not Cards Against Humanity people. You know what I mean?
Like, look, that's a different game. That's not forever, because they're all like very
and
Christian.
I remember like
I heard this game was fun.
A Bukkake card came up, and they were like, "What's that? What's Bukkake? Huh? Bukkake? What?" And I'm like, do I tell these people what it is?
Like, look,
I plead ignorant because I don't want to come off, and that's what I did. My friend Jay told me what it was.
So, look, my friend's a deplorable motherfucker. All right, he's not here. So I'm gonna throw this nigga under the bus. Like, get the fuck out of here. You have seen as much porn in your lifetime, probably as much as I have. Look,
but I can't.
We're in the world.
I can't. Right. But that was a little too close to your worlds colliding. So I had to do some emergency maneuvers, man. I can't.
Wait. Did you pretend you didn't know what the word was?
I said I heard from my friend that this is what that's exactly what I did.
Nigga, exactly nobody at that party believed you at all. Oh, really? What's your friend name? He from Canada? He don't live around here? Like, get the fuck out of here. That's hilarious. The first time I played that game was with just like some friends, which I was like, wow, this game is fucking utterly ridiculous. But it was all within the guise of these people were all heathens. So it's fine. the second time I played the game, for some reason, my nephew got the game for Christmas, and like on my wife's side, and like he was young, right? I'm pretty sure he was like maybe 13, 14 at the time, and I don't think his parents quite realized how raunchy that game got, right? But they were all like, whatever, who cares? And we were playing it, and my father-in-law was like, all right, I'll play with you. And so he's playing with us. And at the time, my father-in-law is probably 78 years old, right? 78-year-old Indian man. And my father-in-law is a very, I wouldn't say stoic person. He's a quiet, he can be like pretty quiet guy, but he also really enjoys kind of like pushing the limits. Like he really does. And so he's playing the game and he knows what everything is. He is not feigning ignorance. Like, and he is laughing his ass off as his grandson has to read these cards, who's 13, who doesn't want to read about jizzing in a woman's face in front of his grandfather, right? But my father-in-law is laughing his ass off. Like, so he's like, no, read the card. What does it say? Like, like big black dick. And he's like, oh, interesting. Like, he is just cracking the fuck up. Like, it was just like the funniest thing. And it's also embarrassing because I don't want to read this because it's in front of my father-in-law. And I don't want to have to be like, right. Yeah, like, you fucking your wife hard. I'm like, great, thanks. That's your daughter, right? Like, it's like,
right. Yeah. You don't want to remind the man that, like, you're inserting yourself into his daughter.
Right.
Like, oh, isn't this fun?
Look, here's a quick side note. And it's just, I've never said this out loud. Like, before I moved out of the States, right, we used to go to, we were part of this, like pool club, right? Or like a swim club type of thing. We used to take our daughter there all the time. And like my father-in-law would come up and we would all take me, my wife, and my daughter and him. We'd all go to this club and take our daughter swimming and everything else, right? Well, my father-in-law and I are in the same locker room, obviously, like getting dressed. I would make it a point to make sure I never was uncovered for a second because I'm like, I don't need this dude to be like, oh, that's sex with my daughter. I don't need it. Like, I don't fucking need it because to me, that is like secondhand traumatizing. You know what I mean? It's like, that's not like me. Like, that's like, not me saying like, oh yeah, like it's, I'm not saying that. It would just be fucking weird, right? Like, it's just
because you don't want to be like, you don't want any thoughts to creep in your like. All of a sudden, like, you're doing what you do, right? You're doing what grown folks do, and all of a sudden, it's just like, thumbs up.
Exactly. Jesus Christ. Oh, fuck. Exactly. I don't know. I don't know that could have been used more better. But that's really fucking hilarious. But that's exactly right. Like, it's weird. Like, that's a fucking weird.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
yes.
I get it.
So yeah, getting back to this thing. So they're laughing, they're playing around, and again, the entire conversation is like dripping with sex and everything else. And they're just having fun, right? Like they're like dancing around, they're just having a good time. The one friend from the record store, like I mentioned earlier, she's got like a kente cloth, like head wrap, like again, blackness in every aspect is shown, right? Like it just is. And I actually kind of like that. And I also love the clothing style of the 90s, besides the like pants that were like way too big. But everybody was just like chill, which I always appreciate. And like, so then you get Darius, he's trying to be smooth about like, romance and how God is a woman and all this other stuff. And they're like, first off, nigga, why are you trying to impress your date? Like, stop trying to be slick. And they call him out and all this other shit. And it's just fun. It's a cool friend group. I was digging it. And so like Nina whispers in his ear like, let's get out of here. And he's like, all right, bet. Fuck these people. And so they're walking around and it's raining again. It's lightly raining, which is romantic, obviously. And And he's like, you know what? You like reggae music? Let's go down to this club, the Wild Hare, and he starts doing this like Jamaican accent, which I thought was perfect. Tiara, actually, I know Tiara hates when people do a Jamaican accent, but it was perfect. I saw no problems with it. And they go to this reggae club again, super black thing, and this reggae club's got like a live band, which is amazing. And it's just black people like just fucking vibing, as young people say, just having a good time. And it's just nice. And so he takes her back to her place. They kiss, and everything is going very well. And she's like, all right, cool. You got to get the fuck out of here before I jump your bones. And so he walks away, being respectful. And he's like, hey, I would really like to come up and talk. And she's like, okay. So they go upstairs and they talk without any clothes on and bump uglies, which God bless.
Lucky son of a bitch.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, they have sex on the first date, which I don't have many experiences with dates. Never fortunate enough to just have sex on the first date. That has never been my thing. I've never been able to do it. Well, yeah. Hey, man, you're a scholar and a coxman.
I don't know about that. But no, I've never been able to do the one night stand thing. That I've never. Well, not somebody I met that night. Like I've never done that where you're just like, hey, I'm at a club and it's like, want to get out of here? And then like I've never been able to like convert that fast.
Yeah.
But I've talked to someone and like talked to them on the phone, gone out on a date, and then like, yeah. It's fine. It's fine. Like not to like be too much of a douche or anything, but sex is much better when like you actually have a real connection with a person. Like banging is one thing, sure. Like let me just ram my genitals into yours. But like actual sex that's actually very good, it's nice to like know the person or be getting to know them, and like face to face. But yeah, look, they everything seemed to be working out well for them. So much so that this nigga got up and put his jeans on with no shirt and made this woman eggs. made her an omelet. Look, I'm not a fan of you going through my fridge and shit, but she seemed to be fine with it. Made her some fruit. Apparently, she just has parsley laying around to make the plate look nice. Okay. And she's very happy about this entire situation. So she liked it. And
this is how well we're doing in the 90s. An out of work photographer lives here.
Right. Like it don't even have holes in the floor or anything. This is a nice apartment. She's got like IKEA looking furniture. This shit is great.
Yeah. We get a quick scene of her telling her friend,
Oh, and they fuck again, by the way, that morning. Which,
there you go.
Good for you.
And you get a quick scene of Nia Long telling Josie that the dick was talking to her. I wish Tiara was here. I would love to.
what a wild 2 sentences to get back to back.
I would love to know what does a dick talking to you sound like? What
is whistling
like? Yeah, does it whistle through that little the little hole in the top? Like
that's a real whistle tip. It goes whoop whoop. Yeah, it's look. We have not made mention of enough about Lisa Nicole Carson. She was a fucking vibe in the 90s.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, she was hot shit. She has like bipolar disorder, and I think she had like a real rough go of it. I was reading an article about her just like a couple years ago about it, which is unfortunate. She always kind of like that doesn't surprise me. Like, in seeing interviews with her in the past, I'm like, yeah, I could see that, which is unfortunate. But no, she was dope, man. Like she was super fun. I was a fan. I was a big fan. Anytime she was in a movie, I was like, I'm gonna see that movie. Like, Jesus Christ. But she was a good, like, sort of side, like, girlfriend, sidekick character. She always brought, like, a good amount of comedy and shit like that to it. So I liked her as an actress too. So yeah, the dick was talking to her, so everything was good.
Then we cut to Savon. Darius rolling up on Savon's house, and Savon is letting his true Isaiah Washington come out, screaming at his wife, and as the wife and child are leaving, because apparently they are having some marital troubles. And you know, us being me and my wife kind of getting married, I don't know if later is the right term. We got married at 35 and 36.
Yeah,
which I think is old. Yeah, for people getting married. I don't know if we just kind of absolutely knew what we wanted from each other, but we are at the point now where we are seeing people break up. And
this is around the age,
like divorce and stuff. And I can't imagine. I don't know. And you know, some of these people, they have kids, and you know, it's. I feel bad. I feel bad for the women, because like it's the dudes, right? Like it's the dudes. I'll have to show you. I'll have to show you one when we get offline. One of the women, and then her ugly ass ex-husband, and like, nigga, what are you doing? What are you doing?
This is the best.
But right. But yeah, it, you know, just another layer of what people go through, right? The movie's not about Isaiah Washington's character, but like, this is what happens, right? Like, there is a combustible element there. Like and that element is introduced at the time where the main relationship in the movie is about to get tested.
Right.
And it's a subtle, right. It's a subtle little nod into Act 2 that, like, generally in the Act 2 of the second act of like a 3-act play, the second act is kind of like the, you know, the act where things go wrong.
Right.
And think like The Empire Strikes Back. Right. And it's just a testament to this movie that you can kind of incept that in there. And then they have a conversation, the two guys, about like marriage.
Yeah.
And
how it's not worth,
you know, right. Like, but like marriage, like anything worth a damn, is hard work.
Yes.
And I just don't, that's why I always tell people, you don't want to get married, don't.
No.
If you gotta want it, man. You gotta, both of y'all. Don't let your partner convince you to get married, right?
Oh,
like,
God, no.
If you want to get married, and if you don't and they do, y'all might need to do each other a favor and just like stay friends. Just go your separate ways.
Yeah. No, it has to be to your point, like, it has to be both of you on board. BOAF, both. Okay.
Both.
It's just, it is a lot of work, and it's not a lot. Like, people think, oh, the only people who say that is because like their relationship is bad. No, the people whose relationship is good will tell you it's a lot of work. It just is. You are taking two people who come from completely different backgrounds and have completely different perspectives, and you're putting them together and saying, make it work. That's real hard. Right. You ever tried to do a group project in school? Now imagine doing that where the stakes are way higher. Like, it's just hard. It's incredibly difficult. But you have to be compromising. You have to try to check your ego. You have to, like, there's a lot of things. And then none of that's easy. None of it's easy. Right? You got to admit when you're wrong, which is a thing I hate to do. You know, it's like, but you do, you know? I mean, on the rare occasion I am wrong, I have to admit it. It's been like 3 times. It sucks.
Today, 3 times today.
Yeah.
But you can't and you can't listen to these people online who farm rage for engagement
Exactly.
to bottom line, you got to talk to people. Nobody wants to talk to each other now.
A bunch of single dudes telling you why
Right.
being married is a terrible idea. I'm like, how the fuck would you know? Like, you don't know shit.
Right. A bunch of single dudes trying to tell you how to get girls and shit. Ain't been married once.
Yeah.
Or are divorced. Or
Stubborn.
are like, right. Like, it just, I don't know. It's weird, man. It's weird.
Yeah. I mean, one of the most dangerous times, and this is true for not just men but also women. The most dangerous time in your relationship, if shit is not going absolutely tip top, and it almost never is because that's not how life works. Most dangerous time is to have a friend who's getting a divorce. That because then it's like they turn the binoculars to my shit, and you're like, whoa, like what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? Because it just happens, right? Like that was fucked up. Let me see if I can figure out. Is it the same shit? Am I seeing the same indicators? No, don't compare and contrast, right? But that's a dangerous time. And that's why I think a lot of times when divorces happen, you see another one happen like soon after that in that same sort of friend group. Yeah, that's very common. It's very common. So he's got to, life is hard. I mean, what is that curve they talk about? Like the happiness of a couple, like over a lifetime is people who are not married, they have a general happiness like for long, spans of time. And like married couples, it's good for a while and then it dips considerably. And then it dips even further when you have kids. And then over the long arc, married people with kids actually turn out to be happier by the end. And it's like, but there's a long dip where it's hard as fuck. Like it just is. Like this age that we're in, this is why people get divorced because this is the part that's really hard. It's just like financial issues and kids and none of it's like working in a mailroom. The mail doesn't stop. That's why those people go crazy, right? So it's all of those life responsibilities. And then you eventually kind of pull yourself kind of out of that, like into your 50s. And then your happiness index goes up dramatically. And it generally, barring sort of major things, it generally rides higher and stays high for the rest of your life. But that 25 to like into your early 50s is fucking hard. That's the hardest part of your life. Always.
Yeah. So I'm gonna kind of shoot through a lot of this movie because, like I said, the movie is good, but it's not a lot. So Nina's ex-husband Ime Udoka comes and he just shows up and he's like, "Hey, like, come to New York with me, right? Like, I want you back. Come to New York with me." And and she's like, "No, nigga, like you had sex with that white lady on the Celtics. Like, I'm not going to come back to you." And he's like, "Come on, just give me a chance. Come back to New York and we'll see, how things go." So she's thinking about it, right? Because she doesn't know if, apparently she spent a lot of time with this person, right? Needs to know if feelings are there, right? And she talks to Josie and she's like, Josie's like, "You should do it. And you should tell Darius. And if Darius becomes all toxic and masculine, then he the one, girl."
Yeah, this is terrible.
This is weird fucking advice, She was like, she basically said, if Darius flips out and gets mad that you're going to see your ex boyfriend, then you stay because he really cares. This is not advice that I would impart on anybody. This is this game plan bullshit that people in their 20s, which, to be fair to the movie, this is they are like 20, they are in their mid to late 20s in this movie. No, don't play these games.
No,
don't play these games. I tell my wife, the one thing my ex had a don't tell Micah policy on certain things, and I ain't like that shit. Like, and I told my wife, like, if you got something, just tell me. You got something to say to me, please just tell me, please. Like, and whenever there's a fight, we go to our separate corners for a while, and then we talk about it at the end of the day, because we try not to go to bed mad. And in that previous relationship, I went to bed mad a lot, and it didn't work out. And this one, I said, look, I'll make a conscious effort to communicate my feelings, as much as I can, and you do the same, and we agreed to it, and we're still together, and we're going strong. And look, and it is in my experience that is the best policy. This shit of let me test his love. Don't do that, yo. Don't do that.
I know somebody who, not this game, but a similar game. All right, I'm gonna move out, and then when I move out, you gonna want to move out. You gonna want to move with me. And they moved out. And that person was like, I'm okay with that. Ready to get a divorce. And they were like, wait, what? Huh? And that's what happened. Don't play that game, Like, don't play the game. Look, it all worked out for everybody in the end. Everybody's happy, right? But you can't play those games, man. Like, you gotta, don't say some shit you do not believe. Like, that's the biggest thing. Don't do that. If you really like this dude, then say, like, listen, I really like you. Is this something real or is it not real? Like, I'm not looking for some bullshit answer. I'm looking for something real.
And at the same time, right, to the other side, because I don't want to just harp on the woman in this scenario, right, of the game plan.
Right, you got to be honest, too.
Right? Yo, if you care about this woman, you need to tell her. You need to, you need to, right, don't play these games, man. And when he, he's just like, oh, well, yeah, whatever. Knowing full well that, like, he's over there telling his friends that she could be the one, right? Yeah. The one, the mythical one in movies when this is the one that'll settle me, that'll calm me down and all that, right? Because I'm a lion on the prowl, and I think I found my one to cut me up.
Stop comparing
yourself
to animals, for the love of God.
To animals, please, for the love of God.
You guys are crazy, yo.
But yo, you got to tell her that. Yeah, you got to tell her, and like, don't be a punk. Don't be a punk bitch and hide your feelings, nigga. You tell her you love her, bro.
Yeah, like, I don't understand that. Like, it is way. No,
I do because, like, men think that like you gotta, we're bred in a certain way to, like, I gotta be stoic, I gotta be The Rock, not Dwayne Johnson, but, like, I have to be a stone, right? I have to be a man, and men don't share their feelings and shit.
That's bad. That's bad.
That's not good, yo. That's not good. Like, we can't
through the roof.
We can't, don't be overly emotional, but, like, don't be devoid of emotion, right? Don't be a Vulcan, right? Like that was, like, people who say that, like, oh, women are too emotional. You got to be logical. You just got to be all logic and no emotion. Just take emotion out of it. You miss the point of the Spock character, right?
Right.
Like,
he's
the Spock character. Right. The point of the Spock character is to balance that shit. And that's what we all need to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But by the way, not just men, women too.
Right. Right.
And also, having emotions does not equal not using logic. Like, I also don't like that implication either.
I don't understand that. I don't understand it.
Like, when you get angry, that is also an emotion. Like, we're human beings. You're supposed to be emotional about certain things. Like, cry if if you're feeling sad, that's okay. Or cry if you're fucking happy, or, like, that's okay. Like, it is perfectly fine. And it's also perfectly fine to go, yeah, I'm going to take some emotion out of this. I want X, Y, and Z done. That's okay too. You don't have to be a fucking blubbering mess every time you need something done, or you have to do something difficult. So yeah, it's very silly to me. But I don't like. I really don't like the idea of just being like, this woman's like, oh, I'm going to go to New York to see my ex, and you're in love with this woman. You're like, just go in. It's like, whatever, girl. We just kicking it. Nah, yo.
Right. Like,
no.
Nah.
I'll be sad, my nigga. I'm going to be real sad. So, no. Do I want you to go? Fuck no. No, I don't. No, fuck that.
That happened to me. You remember when that happened to me?
I remember.
She went to fucking PAX, and that was it. Yeah. and she went to PAX because she wanted to go see her old boyfriend because she still had feelings.
Yeah, I didn't know that part. I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, she wanted to. He was going to be there, and she knew he was going to be there, so that's why she went.
And I know the wrinkle to that part of the story. At least I don't remember.
Right, and that was that. Like it
and I helped you move the fuck out before she got back from that. Like, we're done here.
That's right. It was literally the fastest move I've ever had in my entire life. All my shit was gone within like 2 days.
Yeah, no, I came down, was like, yo, let's go. Pack that shit up. Let's go, B. Like, let's get out of here. Nah, man, fuck that. Not staying here.
So yeah, so just don't, just communication, man. If there's one thing I can impart to anybody listening at any age, communication. You can't be afraid to communicate. So look, Nina leaves. Darius is mad. So, what do men do? What do men think they need to do when they essentially break up? You got to hurry up and fuck somebody else, right?
Yeah, look, best way to get over somebody is to get under somebody else. I agree. Darius did nothing wrong. He did nothing wrong.
So Darius, he found a new chick, and she, he's kind of seeing her, or whatever. Nina, and in New York, Nina remembers like why they broke up, why her and Ime Udoka, whatever the fuck the character's name is, broke up. And she's like, nah, yo, I ain't with all this. I'm going back to Chicago, right? And she sees Darius hugged up with some girl. I think her name is Lisa. And she's like, oh, well, I guess he's moved on. And when she came back, she didn't immediately call him. And when he found out she was back, he didn't immediately call her. Again, like, this is the frustrating part about these movies, right? Yeah. But like, that's the point.
I mean, okay. So, all right, let's see. Can we cut him a little bit of slack here? Can we cut her a little bit? Of slack?
I'm definitely cutting him a little bit of slack.
Right, because she left on some I'm gonna go see my ex-boyfriend shit. I feel like calling her first, and I hate to use this term, feels like a bit of a simp fucking move. Like, hey, are you back in town? Are you still single? Like, I'd be like, go fuck yourself. Like, I don't think so. Like, and the wild shit is, even if you came back into town and you were like, oh, I'd like to see you again, I'd be like, like I'm side eyeing you. I'm like, did you just go to New York, get your back blown out a couple of times, and now you're back? Like, did you get it out of your system? Like, what the fuck happened? Like,
I mean, that's literally what he says in the movie, right?
Right. Like
he's like, when they do talk, he was like, "Oh, did you have sex with him or whatever?" And she's like, "What do you think?" Or some shit like that. I don't know. So she ends up going on a couple of dates with Bill Bellamy. And Bill Bellamy is a real piece of shit.
Nah, yo, this is unacceptable behavior, yo. This is unacceptable behavior.
Yeah, this is nonsense. This is fuck you, Bill Bellamy. Like, this, you out the friend group forever, nigga. Because he goes out with this girl. He goes out with this girl knowing that his friend still like has feelings or whatever. But like, first, like I don't know what kind of bro code you dealing with, yo. But like,
this is violent.
If somebody breaks up with somebody and y'all in the front, like, nah, yo, nah, that person is persona non grata, yo. Yeah. Like, until that person says, I am cool with all of us hanging out again, nah, yo, you don't be mean to that person, but like,
no, I'm looking at you kind of
I'm gonna hang out over here. You know what I mean?
I don't think I'd be cool with it ever. Like, I don't think so. I don't think so. Like,
and
okay, not to be crass here. I was balls deep in this person, and now we just gonna act like none of that shit happened. Like, we was in a like we were in a real relationship, yo. They were in a real relationship with each other. I cooked eggs, yo. Look, if I made you eggs, get the fuck out of here. You can't date somebody in my friend group. I don't give a fuck who you date outside of that. Do your thing. But in my friend group, nah, that's wild. That's
who do you blame more? Do you blame her or do you blame Bill Bellamy? I blame Bill Bellamy more.
Nah, that's a 50-50. No, because he's a piece of shit. He's a piece of shit. But she's also a piece of shit because it's not like you don't know.
She is a piece of shit. She is a piece of shit. But Bill Bellamy in this case is a bigger piece of shit because he's going around flaunting it, right? Like he's bringing her to locations where he is, where Darius is. That's like, fuck you, Bill Bellamy.
Right. Like I'm just saying from a fundamental aspect, they're both pieces of shit because you don't fuck with the guy who's in the tight-knit friend group. Like, it's not like the friend group's got like 45 people in it, right? You could just like blend in the background. There's like 6 of them, right? Like you're dating 1/6 of the group. Like you've already dated a third of the people in the group, right? Like that's crazy. So I'm not okay with that. As far as like, is Bill Bellamy a bigger asshole in the moments of bringing her around and sort of flaunting her? Yeah, 1,000%. Because she didn't know that he was going to be there, but like you didn't know, but you did.
Even Bill Bellamy is like, you didn't know, you didn't think he was going to be here. You didn't think he was going to. I only hang out with 4 other people. You didn't think he was going to be here,
right? Come on, dog. Like that. That's what I'm saying. Like I'm giving equal play to them both being real fucking piece of shit. But and I can see why she's doing it, right? You got a girl, so what you worried about me for? That's irrelevant. She's not a part of your fucking friend group. Like, don't do that. Like, that's fucked up. Right.
In terms of the scales of the piece of shit scales, I will give them equal weight, but Bill Bellamy's piece of shit smells worse.
All right, I'll give you that. The things you'll hear on the show. So they go out to the club.
So Bill Bellamy. Well, Bill Bellamy. They go out for a while. Bill Bellamy takes her to a house party or whatever, knowing that Darius is gonna be there, and Nina is offended, right? She's like, "Yo, what the fuck, yo?" And then Bill Bellamy and Nina have this blow up, and she's like, "Take me home, take me home." And Bill Bellamy, the smellier piece of shit, is like, "No, go fuck yourself. Walk home. Come on, nigga. What are you doing?"
Yeah.
So at this point,
that was fun.
Even his friends are like, "What the fuck?" Like, that's my one thing about this movie. I needed some resolution on the friend group, like ostracizing Bill Bellamy.
Yeah, look, they almost ostracized Isaiah Washington's character too, because he brings some woman to a party after breaking up with his wife, and they were like, "They go, what are you doing? Y'all ain't divorced? Like, y'all just going through shit." And the whole friend group was like, "I don't like none of this." And he tried to like say some shit, and the one at that party, and the one black woman in the group was like, "Nigga, I know your ass ain't talking." He was like, "Oh shit, let me just shut up." Like, pipe down. Yeah, that was fucked up.
So Darius walks Nina to a payphone to call a cab. Then they finally have the talk that they needed to have before she left New York,
right?
And eventually they reconcile. Eventually they reconcile. They go do a little hand dancing, go out on a couple more dates, and then they realize, like,
again,
they're back in the relationship. They're back in the relationship again, but again, relationships require work, and it's a stressful time for both of them, and they end up essentially breaking up again. And
look, this scene. Hold on a second. This one scene is too good. Like where he goes and spends the night over there, and she's like, "Oh, you could just sleep on the couch." I'm like, "Come on, dog! Like this is fucked up." This poor dude. She has him sleep downstairs, and she's like, I just want to like save some for later. He's like, "You ain't gotta save nothing. I'd like to have mine right now." like, what are you doing? We've already had sex before. And so she is she is teasing this dude like to the fucking nth degree. She's like, "Can you unzip my dress?" It just gets stuck. I'm like, "Come on, man, don't do that." Like, Jesus Christ. She goes upstairs and he's down on the couch. Like this dude is like, "Don't jerk off." Don't jerk off. Like he's like fucking freaking out. She's got the pillow between her legs. She's having a fucking fit upstairs. And so he creeps his little ass up there and he was like, "Mind if I play you something?" And she's like, "Yeah, sure." And they started dancing, and I'm sure immediately after that, he went right back to that couch alone. I'm sure that's what happened. And yes, so then they have some more hard work, and they eventually end up breaking up again. Things get into like a routine.
Yeah, things get into that's the perfect word for it. Things get into a routine. Life comes at you, and that's one of the reasons I really like this movie. Is it's not happily ever after when they get back together the next time, right?
Right.
You see what happens after ever after,
right?
And it is basically this whole movie is about relationships needing work, and eventually Nina gets a job and she has to at BET, and she has to like go
or Vibe,
Vibe, and written BET, and Darius gets word that like when her train is leaving, and he's like, "That's fine, I don't care," right? And then he changes his mind. Yeah, he does. And he changes his mind, and he does the love story thing of like running through the train station trying to catch a glimpse just to tell her how he feels, when he could have done that at any fucking time. But the movie's got a movie, right?
Yeah, look, this is very similar. This is very similar to I don't know if it's this part or the very end. I think it's at the very end. Yeah, it's at the very end. Never mind. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So 1 year later, we see Nina comes back to what's his name is a writer. Darius is a writer. He finished his book. Nina comes back to Chicago, and she eventually goes back to Sanctuary, their old hangout, and she had wrote a poem for Darius, and she gets up on stage and she says the poem, but she says she couldn't really see him, and because she's still thinking about him, and she did the same thing that she probably found some nigga in New York or whatever, and it was like, "I'm going to Chicago for a minute, unless you flip out and threaten to choke me or some shit, and then I'll stay here and be with you because that means you love me." She comes back, she gives the poem, she doesn't see him. She's upset. She goes outside. It's raining because it's a movie, and Darius comes out, and it's like, "Hey, I really like the poem," and they finally have the open and honest communication that they've been needing to do for literally a year within this movie's timeline, and they kiss in the rain, and it looks like things are gonna work themselves out.
Right. And look, he says something, he apologizes, I never stopped thinking about you, and she says, you have like the worst timing, right? You just want what you want when you want it. And he's basically like, yeah, you're right, but I don't give a shit about all of that. Like, I just want you right now. Right. And to an earlier point that you made, which was, there's these sort of tropes in, romantic comedies. My favorite movie is a romantic comedy, incidentally. And this ending is like, it's just the black version of it, right? It has this exact same ending as similar to When Harry Met Sally, right? Which is my favorite movie of all time. And it's because of the writing, right? And there's a line in that movie of him sort of realizing, it's kind of similar to the train station running scene, but he finally realizes, like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm being an idiot. And he finally goes to her. And the line, to paraphrase the line, is, when you realize you want to spend your life with somebody, or the rest of your life with somebody, you want the rest of your life to start right now. And that's basically his point. Cause she's like, well, I live in New York and Chicago. Like, I don't give a shit about any of that. Like, this is like, I've realized I'm being a fucking dummy. I wanted to start right now. Right. And like, even though it's been a year and everything else and all this other back and forth. And the reason those lines, or a similar line like that, works is because that's very true to life. Like, when you actually meet somebody, you go out with them and everything else, and through all your fucking bullshit, however that goes, when you realize that moment, especially for guys, like, oh shit, this is what everybody's talking about. This is that feeling. You want it to start right then. Like, you do not want to wait. You don't want, if they're out of town, I'm going to get to wherever the fuck they are. It's just, that is a very human feeling. And the reason you see it often in these movies is because that is exactly how guys think, right? It's like, yeah, but what about logistics be damned? Like, just make it happen. And that's very true. I mean, it was true for me. So, it's a good ending. It's a cliche ending, but it's a damn good ending. So,
yeah. It's look, this is a good movie, man. It's a good movie. It's a classic for a reason. The music's great. Again, it runs the gamut of all of our music, right? Like, I think this is where my wife fell in love with Maxwell, the performer.
Oh shit!
Because something plays in this movie. Yeah, well, we named our son after him. That's how much she really likes that man.
I love that.
She likes him so much. She took me to a concert of his in New York. I bought her concert tickets, and she was like, "Can you come with me?" And you do things for people you love. You know what I mean? Like,
wasn't it Max? It wasn't Max. Was it the Maxwell concert you proposed to your wife?
No, I proposed to her at a John Legend concert. And
this nigga went on stage, y'all. This nigga went on stage, son.
I could be romantic when I need to be.
Look, you're a bigger fucking attention whore than I am, because you could not pay me. You could not pay me to get on stage and do what you did. But I appreciate that about you, because you have Peter Parker Spider-Man syndrome. That is exactly who you are. But nah, fuck that. You want to come on stage? I do not. Thanks, John Legend. Do it from over here, quietly. Not this star for attention. Pay attention to me, ass nigga, that I'm doing this show with.
I mean, look, they had to, like, because I get up on stage in front of people, and it's like they had the microphone low because the host was like screaming into the microphone, so they had to like lower it. And I get up on stage and I'm like, "Don't let your voice crack! Don't let your voice crack! Don't let your voice crack!" Right? So you gotta.
I would be terrified. I would be terrified.
Because I was fucking like, and the good thing was like when the spotlight is on you, you don't really see all the people, right? Because it's just a blinding spotlight. But I'm like, okay, Erica, right? Like I'm trying to like lower my voice, right, to make sure it doesn't like lower, so it, you know, to make sure it doesn't crack like this, right? And but they couldn't hear me. They couldn't hear me, and the fucking host is, "We can't hear you, brother!" Like, oh, Jesus fucking Christ, yo! It's like, can somebody turn the mic up for him, please? Can somebody turn the mic? I was like, Jesus Christ, nigga! But yeah, then I said what I said, and
yeah, you're blowing my whole shit up.
Right, like, goddamn, yo, like, Jesus Christ, man, what the fuck are you doing? But yeah,
That's
man,
awesome.
yeah, man,
Yeah, I
love Jones for my wife, nigga.
Yeah, look, hey, look, if you're listening to this and your panties are not wet, ladies, they should be. Look,
they should be. They should be. Like,
they should be. Yeah, that would be me. I would like the first off saying, like, oh Jesus, get him off the stage, please. This guy is drying up everybody. Like, relax. No, but look, Love Jones is a very good movie. It's if you've not seen it, you should. Look, just quickly, I did a little bit of research here. Here's a couple of reasons why this movie and many other black movies in the 90s were so good. The 1990s were the top economic decade for black people, quite literally, in the modern era and every other era before it. Because of robust growth in the U.S. economy, higher employment rates across many sectors, the median household income for black families rose significantly, driven by better access to middle-class jobs. Black Americans made notable strides in professional sectors such as education, healthcare, and government jobs. That's important to understand. How home ownership. By the end of the 1990s, home ownership rates among black Americans saw measurable increases. Policies encouraging affordable housing and lower interest rates made home buying more accessible. Efforts by community organizations and government programs specifically targeted increasing black home ownership. Educational advancements. College enrollment rates among black Americans increased, contributing to greater earning potential. Access to federal and state grants, along with scholarships, helped more black students afford higher education. So when people tell you that black people don't need to worry about college, understand that yes, the fuck they do. This is why things were good for us. Entrepreneurship growth, civil rights progress. While the civil rights movement in the 1960s laid the groundwork, the 1990s saw a culmination of legal and societal changes that supported economic progress. So quite literally, it took 30 years for it to fucking peak. And that was a time that we did incredibly well. Affirmative action programs were more robust in the early part of the decade, aiding in employment and educational opportunities. So there you go. That's just some. So when people tell you don't worry about politics and shit like that, it does in fact matter. It does.
Right. A lot of these rich black dudes out here now wouldn't be here now if it wasn't for those plans for all that that happened in the 90s. Yep. If it wasn't for the black economic boom in the 90s. A lot of black art that we see now wouldn't be around if it wasn't for that stuff. When a rising tide raises all ships, folks. Like, I just I don't want to get too much into politics.
But just the reality of America.
But all that shit matters, right? Yeah, all of that stuff matters, man. Like, so I don't know. I don't know.
I don't need to say anymore, except for, why don't you just go look who was president at the time? Just go look it up.
Go
look it up.
Art
they can play saxophone on the Arsenio Hall show. All right, guys. Like, just saying. Like, life was better.
Yeah. So I see. One last bit of trivia. Nina was originally written for Jada Pinkett. What do you think about that?
Nah.
For me, it doesn't hit.
No.
But, I don't know if that's just my Nia Long bias.
No, yes. And I don't think Jada Pinkett is like her, like in the 90s. I like Jada Pinkett in the 90s. Don't get me wrong. But she always kind of played to, and maybe this is not fair, like typecasting sort of thing. She always kind of played like tough chicks. Like that was kind of her thing. And I think she enjoyed that. And like tough, but like I got like a soft like nougat center.
She played
right?
like
you gotta like
she played like an around the way girl that is strong, but like she need a roughneck nigga that can satisfy her. You know what I mean? I used to love that song. Adina Howard's still fine. Adina Howard's still fine.
Is she still fine?
I love her. She's still fine. Adina Howard's still fine.
I was.
Hold on. Let me make sure.
I was a fan.
Everybody was a fan of that goddamn. Everybody was a fan of that album poster. That album cover. She's still fine. Yeah, she's still fine. Okay.
Yeah, you got me.
Oh yeah, she only 50. She's still fine. Get out of here, Dina Howard. I mean, I'm not a roughneck nigga but I can try to satisfy you.
No, you're not gonna. But it's fine.
I would fail, but that's fine. Yeah. At least I tried. I don't really give a damn.
Hey, better to try and fall short than to never try at all. But yeah, look, I don't know if Jada Pinkett would have fit the role like the way that this is written as we've seen it now. Maybe the character was written slightly differently. I don't know. But I think the way Nia Long plays the character, I don't see Jada Pinkett playing Jada Pinkett Smith playing that quite the same. So okay, I'm fine with the casting that worked out.
I'm fine with anything Nia Long does.
That is correct. Yes. And look, I'm going to go out. I'm going to put Nia Long in the stratosphere category of if you do not find Nia Long attractive, you're a racist. You're a racist. That's it. Sorry.
That's it.
That's the highest praise I can ever give any woman of color is you are so attractive that if someone does not find you attractive, then look, I'm not saying you got to think she's the most beautiful woman you've ever seen. But if you do not think Nia Long is attractive, you are a racist. And that is the only explanation. Or you've never actually seen a person because your eyes don't work, which is possible. Yeah. But then listen to her voice. And if you don't think her voice is beautiful, then you're also a racist. You're just a racist.
Yeah.
So
that's it.
All right. So she's hit that mark for me. All right. That's it for us. We will see you guys next week for another preview episode.
See you.
You're watching the Black on Black Cinema YouTube channel. Make sure you check out our full reviews of black movies, past and present. And every other week, we do a preview episode where we talk about a random topic that affects the black community.